Thank you for joining us this morning, and let's get started. So, first of all, before I get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of this very special program, I just want to say a few words about Wheel and Anchor and what we're all about for any of those that are new to our community. I started this organization coming up on 5 years ago. Because after spending more than 30 years of organizing trips for Canadians from coast to coast to destinations all around the world, I thought that what I found was that when you get a group of people together, and I've organized large groups and small groups and for individuals and all the rest of it, but it's when you have a people who have some connection to one another, that are like-minded, that are friends or family or part of a club or whatever it happens to be. The dynamic that you have on the trip is so much different than if you just join a group tour of any kind. And so we have taken that idea of this dynamic of like-mindedness and community and try to organize our trips around that, so that we go to some amazing places, we have some great experiences, but we do so in the company of people that we feel a certain kinship with, if you will. Anyway, I can go into a lot more detail about all that, but for those who have participated in our trips, and you get a little bit of a sense of the vibe here from some of the photos. We really have sort of accomplished that, and yet it's a constant striving to have that sense that you've gone away with a bunch of friends and had an amazing time. And of course, in keeping with all of that, it's obviously about the travel itself, and I am committed to having people be well-traveled, which means a lot more than just, visiting a whole bunch of places on a list, but rather that you go and are able to experience it in a different way, in a different pace. We're becoming more and more known for our live-away programs, long stay type programs, where we have a variety of things that allow us to really get acquainted with the community. All of our trips are designed at a bit of a slower pace, and even this one, that is, again, it's a little bit of a different take on the kinds of things that we've done before, but it's what makes me particularly excited because of how we've put it together and the people that are involved. So anyway, that's a little bit about us and what we're all about. So again, my name is Gordon, founder of Wheel and Anchor, and I couldn't do this without my amazing team, including Paula, who's here with me today on the screen, and Barb, our trip specialists, who are the ones that they're the ones that enjoy talking to all of you, our members, on the phone, and making sure that you get your questions answered and get all signed up for our various trips, and then a whole bunch of other people that are part of our team. So today our agenda is very simple. We're just going to be talking a little bit about yoga and wellness in Thailand, and this very special and unique program that we've put together that is going to take place at the end of January and the beginning of February. And so I'll get into all of the details. First of all, I'll say a couple of words, and I didn't put a map on here because this program is on one island, and it's the island of Koh Phangan. And so if you can imagine Thailand, Thailand is basically a large landmass in the north where Bangkok is located, and then a very narrow isthmus that separates the Indian Ocean, or the so-called Andaman Sea, from the Gulf of Thailand, which is effectively the Pacific Ocean. And we are in the Gulf of Thailand. There are 3 islands. There's actually a whole bunch of islands, but 3 major islands: Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and Koh Tao, that form this little archipelago. And Koh Phangan is the middle one, the middle sister, if you will, of these 3 islands. And it's quite an amazing place because it is it's not so much off the beaten track anymore, but it was for many, many years. It was sort of discovered, if you will, by travelers, by hippies, some 30 plus years ago, who started a little thing called the Full Moon Party, which now is a massive, it's a mecca for backpackers from around the world. That's what put the island on the map, if you will. And yet in the last 10 or 15 years, there's a whole aspect of the island that has evolved into something completely different, because people that have lived there and been around the island for a long time will say that there is a certain energy there, and it could come from the crystal that forms the core of the island. And in fact, when I'm there at my home is on the island. I'm often walking out up into the hills, into the forest, and I'm collecting bits of quartz that you find all over the island. It's really quite amazing. And then they say that is creates a certain energy field, if you will, that has brought together people from all over the world, from all walks of life, and has created an amazing place for healing, for a certain sense of spirituality, if you will, for health, for wellness, but at a very ethereal level. Yeah, that's what Koh Phangan and this program is all about. The facilitators of this program are actually two old friends of mine in the meantime. They are two very accomplished practitioners of yoga and meditation and other modalities. Clelia, who originally comes from the area around Venice in Italy, and Andrew, who's actually originally from Alberta. I have practiced yoga with both of these amazing people for years in the past. In the meantime, they conduct their own classes online and do retreats in different parts of the world. And we've been working together, and I would have loved to have had them on the webinar today, but they are in fact in the middle of a big retreat that they've been working on. And so they have all their energy and focus. So they send their love and their thoughts. And they have obviously been part and parcel in putting this whole program together. So we may have another webinar for just to get a chance to introduce them at a later date, but in any event, we wanted to get this program to you because I know it's being eagerly anticipated by several of our members. Let's talk a little bit about the experience, what we're titling Koh Phangan Chakra Journey. Well, what are the chakras? I'm not going to go into a long sort of philosophical discussion about what chakras are, but for all intents and purposes, they are an energy system between the body and, if you will, a higher source of energy. And so the word chakra itself comes from the Sanskrit, actually, which means wheel. And so people who are consider themselves to be clairvoyant will say that they can actually visualize, they can actually see fields of energy in the form of wheels, circular fields of energy and colors that emanate from the body. And each chakra center, there are 7 of them, relates to a certain part of the body, a certain set of organs, but it also relates to, again, these different energy fields. And so the whole idea behind this program is that it's an exploration into the different chakras, and some of them will. Again, there's a lot of discussion, particularly in recent years, about what it all means and how they're implemented and how where they're used in meditation, and what they all mean in terms of our overall sort of sphere of wellness. And so the idea here is that this is a little bit of an exploration into each of the chakras and how they impact our well-being and how they can be used or interpreted or thought about to influence our overall well-being. And as I say, I don't want to go into too much detail because I'm not the authority on it. That's what Andrew and Clelia are for. So I'll tell you now how that translates into what this program is all about. And so the itinerary here starts obviously in Koh Phangan, which you reach via Koh Samui. And so the timing of the program is that it sits between the first 2 weeks of our Koh Samui Live Away. So our Koh Samui Live Away, for those of you who may not have either heard of it or seen the webinar, read the material on it, goes from the middle of January through until the end of February. So it's 3 2-week slots that you can join for 2 weeks. You can come for 4 weeks. You can come for the whole 6 weeks. The middle 2 weeks, we're also offering this Koh Phangan Chakra Journey. So you could go to Koh Samui for 2 weeks on a live away and then come here for a week, or you could come here for a week and then go to Koh Samui for 2 weeks, or you could do 2 weeks here and 2 weeks in Koh Samui, or you could do 2 weeks in Koh Samui and a week here, and then 2 weeks in Bali. There's, you have various combinations, and we wanted to make it, if you're coming all this way, for a lot of people, it's a long way to come just to do a wellness program, although that is a possibility as well. I mean, you may want to come over here just for this and then go off and do traveling on your own. So there's various ways that you can integrate this into either other programs of ours or some other travel on your own. And to answer the question again, why Koh Phangan? Well, it is a very special place. It has a very different feeling and atmosphere than, for example, Koh Samui, which is quite a well-known, very popular, quite busy tourist island. Koh Phangan, as I always say, to describe it to people who haven't been to Thailand before, it's like going back 20 years from Phuket or Koh Samui and these more popular places. It's still largely bungalow resorts along the various coasts. 2/3 of the island is protected national park and forest. So there's lots of jungle on the island. It's very mountainous, reaching up to about 640 meters above sea level. In fact, that's one of the journeys we might do is a trek up this so-called Koh Ra. And on top of all that, it has some of the most magical, beautiful beaches. And it is a center more and more of sort of spirituality, of healing. And there are so many modalities available on this island, where in a week's time, you can touch on only a few. In 2 weeks, a few more, but you could spend months there exploring and investigating all the different things on the island. And obviously, we've allowed for there to be some time to go beyond what we're doing in this program. Where we're staying on the south part of the island on a beautiful beach called Bantai, at a relatively new resort. I think it was built about 5-6 years ago, called Summer Luxury Beach Resort. It's a very interesting place. In fact, it was built by an acquaintance of mine on the island, a South African chap. It has actually a fairly modern feel to it, which is nice. Got a big giant swimming pool in the middle. There's a compound of hotel rooms, suites that go all the way around. There's a phenomenal spa, which is part of the reason that we chose Summer. This is my favorite spa on the island, called Pharaoh Spa. It's sort of designed in an Egyptian Middle Eastern theme, private spa rooms with steam rooms and different body scrubs and all kinds of different things that you can avail yourself of during the week there. It has an excellent restaurant that's located right on the beach. And the rooms themselves come in different categories. You have either junior suites or deluxe suites. They're quite spacious, as you can see here, and big, huge, large windows, either facing out to the garden or facing in the direction of the sea. So very, very comfy accommodations. There's also a couple of pool suites with almost like a private pool, a plunge pool outside, and then there's one that's actually right on the beach, the luxury beachfront suite. So there's some different accommodations there, and all in all, it's a great place to stay. And from there, we'll be going out around the island. So I'm going to describe a little bit each of the days of the week, and because how this program is actually delivered is really a function of Andrew and Clelia having a discussion and understanding of everybody who's in the group at the beginning. The group will be relatively small. We're going to cap this out at like 16, maybe 18 people, which is just the right size for the yoga shalas that we have set aside for some of the activity programs that we have. So it's not going to be a large group. It's going to be quite a compact group. And they're going to really understand and, if you will, read the energy of the group and what everybody is there for and what their intentions are, and then go through this exploration that may or may not follow exactly the day-by-day itinerary here, because it's not about a sightseeing tour. It's a wellness journey. It's a chakra journey. And so, again, I'm going to talk to you about a few of the things that are going on, but it may not happen in this order. And the activities may or may not be associated with these different days and chakras. Again, it's all going to be sort of developed in the best interest of delivering on the intentions that the group sets. And I know for some of you who are maybe new to the idea of a wellness program like this, it's a little bit like, oh, it's not a fixed program. there's many things that are going to be on offer, actually more than are even described in the webinar in the program itinerary. But it's also partly because some of them are there, special secrets that that we want to keep. So one thing that we're going to do, obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning, Koh Phangan is a lot about nature, and the root chakra is all about nature. And so we are going to go on one of at least a few hikes in the jungle. Now, this isn't going to be like hours and hours where you need a big backpack and all the rest of it. I mean, we're talking about a couple of hours. We may visit one of the waterfalls on the island. There are numerous beautiful waterfalls on the island, like Pang Waterfall. And typically, on an average day, we're going to get up in the morning. We're going to have a yoga practice in the morning. So I want to emphasize as well that this also isn't a yoga retreat where you go and you do yoga 5 times a day. That's not what it is either. There will be yoga offered every day. There will be meditation and breathing offered pretty much every day. And again, the routine will be established based on the group and the aspirations. And, you know, like any wellness retreat of this nature, everything is possible, and you're encouraged to participate in as much as possible, because that's part of the entire experience. But also, nothing is obligatory. Nobody's checking off your name when you enter into the yoga shala in the morning to see if you actually attended. But the more that you embrace the journey, the more that you'll actually get out of it. So, and as I say, that being with nature and part of the root chakra is going to be one of the key elements to this thing. The sacral chakra will be associated a little bit with the idea of happiness and joy. And so there's hardly any more joy than you can find in Thailand than going to one of the beautiful beaches like Bottle Beach on Koh Phangan. In fact, again, depending on how ambitious, how motivated the group is, we might hike in there, or we'll go in by longtail boat and we'll spend some time, perhaps do some yoga on the beach, perhaps do some breathing exercises on the beach, perhaps just hang out on the beach and talk. But the point is that we're taking you to places that are connected with a particular chakra that makes up part of the journey. And we're going to visit different parts of the island, and, you know, getting there in different ways, local transportation, engaging with the locals, drinking coconuts along the way. That's just really being with nature as opposed to hanging out at the beach. And you'll see that there's actually quite a distinct difference in that. Talking about the solar plexus chakra, so this is sort of the center of the body. This is all about breath work. And I mentioned that before. There are so many different modalities of breath work, and some of them will be explored with Clelly and Andrew. And in conjunction, for example, with the ice bath. And I know that's something that freaks some people out, but there will be the opportunity to visit some spas. And when I say a spa, you know, don't think about, you know, the Four Seasons luxury spa. These are, fairly basic, but very functional places around the island where they have steam bath and ice baths, where you literally, you've got a huge tank or a tub of water that's full of ice, and using breath work, you can enable yourself to immerse yourself in ice cold water for 1, 2, 3 or more minutes, and it is an incredible experience, and you get a tremendous amount out of it. And for those of you who follow Wim Hof as an example, he's one of these guys who has proven that the human body can withstand much more than we think simply by focusing on the breath. So some aspect of this journey will be devoted to breath work. And there are practices that I've learned from these guys over the years that I still implement today on a daily basis. So it's really quite interesting, quite amazing. The heart chakra, obviously associated with, I shouldn't say obviously, but it's associated with love. So you can't spend a week in Koh Phangan or in Thailand without spending at least one day or a part of a day at the spa. So there'll be an opportunity to give yourself some love. Let me tell you, spending a couple of hours at Faro Spa, having different treatments, whether it's they have an incredible aromatherapy body scrub that they do, and a steam bath, and Thai massage, or all kinds of different massages. But the teaching in the morning will talk about, for example, the heart spa and loving and, giving love to yourself in the form of self-care, but also how that manifests itself in terms of that which you exude towards others. So this will be another very special day. The throat chakra is all about meditation and silence. And again, whether these particular chakras are my description of them are actually how Andrew and Clelia will describe them, or how they will sort of introduce them in terms of the teachings throughout the week, it may or may not be 100% aligned. But I just wanted to give you the sense of all the kinds of things that we're going to be doing. And so we're going to visit a very interesting retreat in the forest that was set up by a local Buddhist monk who's become quite renowned for his walking meditations. And so we'll spend part of a day doing a very focused walking meditation. And I can tell you, I've had numerous friends of mine go for a whole week of this walking meditation, and people come back completely transformed in terms of their outlook on life, even if you've never meditated before. So our program will be a little bit of an introduction to the walking meditation and silence, and how that sort of corresponds with the throat chakra. As we move on through the week, we go up to the third eye, the crown chakras, and they're one of the activities that we have planned. And there's so many more that I want to talk about as well, like sound healing. There are some incredible sound healing practitioners on the island that we're also going to bring into this experience and give you the opportunity to take part in. And for me, that's one of the things that I find is at every single time you get some different benefit out of it. But ecstatic dance, you may or may not have heard of this before. Ecstatic dance is dancing, but the rule of play, if you will, at an ecstatic dance is that there's certainly no mobile devices. In fact, we don't even recommend you have your mobile devices on for the whole week. This week is all about going into yourself just really uncovering a whole different mindset, a whole different energy, and all the rest of it. So you want to sort of minimize the interaction, I think, with the outside world. That's the way you get the most out of it. I can say that from my own personal experience. But ecstatic dance, you go in and you don't talk to anybody else. And you simply express yourself through dance, whatever that means to you. And so, when you first come into an ecstatic dance and you see people there and people are doing all kinds of crazy things and crazy moves and doing all, and the whole point is that it's pure self-expression that is not judged, not assessed, and you just completely be yourself. And as it says here, open up and let go. People come from all ages and all backgrounds and all traditions and cultures and simply just be and just dance. And it is, I can't even describe the experience of that. So participating in an ecstatic dance is something that is part of every program. And then next thing you know, the week will be over. That's why we're doing 2 weeks of it, because some may very well want to embark on this journey for a second week. And while the program in terms of following the chakras will be consistent from one week to the next, the activities that we do, the energies that we explore, and how it's all organized is going to vary, because it's going to very much be determined by the group and how Andrew and Clelia sort of interact and assess what the intentions are and the energies are of the group. So that's basically an outline of what's going to happen on this program. It's, again, a very, very different experience than we've offered at Wheel and Anchor before, but we've been talking about this actually for almost a year. And it's sort of taken us to this point to come up with the right timing that fits in between our other live-away programs, but also the right approach and the right place to stay and the right everything. And I think that we've got it now. And so, that's what it's all about. All of the details, of course, are going to be as usual in the program itinerary that's going to come out to you in the next 48 hours by the weekend. We're just putting some final touches on the program itinerary. But just to give you a little insight into that, here is the 1 week programming based on the different types of accommodation that we have available. So it's going to take place again between January 29th and February 5th, or February 5th to the 12th, or both weeks. And included in that is going to be all the transfers from the moment you arrive in Koh Samui, which you reach via Bangkok. And so our team can also assist you with airfare from Canada. So from when you arrive in Koh Samui, you're going to be looked after right until you arrive in Koh Phangan. Spend 7 nights at Summer with breakfast and lunch and 3 dinners. So because we have a fairly full program that, again, you're not obliged to do every single bit of everything, and there is definitely free time for you to just be with yourself or go out and explore a bit of the island. We're going to have transportation available as well to obviously go around to the different activities, but also to facilitate going to different parts of the island. And, you know, I think that after the first couple of days, people will want to go together to some dinners, and there's some great restaurants I want to show you. This isn't a fasting program, by the way. And for any of you that know our Wheel and Anchor programs, we do like to enjoy our food. And although the food on this is going to largely be geared around healthy type food, it can still be super delicious, and again, from all different parts of the world. So that's what's going to be on it. So you'll have the full attention and dedication of Andrew and Clelia for the whole time that you're there. They're going to be spending, I want to say 24/7, but certainly pretty much all waking hours together with you and leading you through this program. And of course, all of the other costs that are associated with that are pretty much included in the program. The only thing you have to look for is airfare, which will, of course, depend on your overall schedule. If you're going to join us for live away and then take part in this wellness experience, or whatever you're going to do. So again, we can assist you with all of that. And as is becoming consistent with all of our programs, we are making deals with particularly the hotels, because they're the most challenging ones, even on Koh Phangan, which has, even though it's been a somewhat off the beaten track destination, it's becoming very popular, and as a result becoming very full. So if we commit to them before the end of May, then they will give us a bit better of a deal, and we're passing that on to you. So for each week that you book, there's a $250 early bird special if you sign up before the end of May, and that just means that we can commit. And if we commit and put our deposit down, then that, as I say, we pass those savings on to you. Of course, if you have any questions, now is the time to answer your questions. So we're going to go to the Q&A session, but of course, you may think of something else later on, and then you can email either Paula or Barb. And
or call us. I said, or call us, email or call us.
Yeah, email or call. I mean, emails are good because we get a lot of calls, and Paul and Barb are on a lot of the time, but either way, we'll get your questions answered. And I see a few questions have come in, Paula.
Yes. So one of the questions here from Jean was with regards to what level of expertise is required.
Great question. So no expertise is required. It is good because this isn't a pure yoga retreat. So for some people, and that's why we made extra care not to call it a yoga retreat, because although there is a yoga practice every day, maybe even more than one, it's going to very much cater to people with all levels experience or no experience in yoga. And so, I know when I first started doing classes with Andrew going back X number of years, when I first went to Koh Phangan, I mean, I was pretty much a newbie when it came to yoga. And so they have a great knack for being able to include everybody and make sure that you participate without sort of being like you don't have to do anything. Particularly men, go into yoga classes often like, oh my God, look at those women, and they can bend over backwards and all the rest of it. Everybody, that's the beauty of yoga. You go to your own ability and you push your own boundaries, and it doesn't matter what the person next to you is doing. So you don't need to be super fit. We are going to be walking around, going some hikes around the island, going to the beaches, getting in and out of Longtail. So, I mean, you need to be fairly active and mobile, but you don't need to be a gym bunny by any stretch of the imagination, or a yogi.
Yeah. So I think it's fair to say it'd be like beginner friendly with modifications offered for all levels.
100%, 100%.
Perfect. Got another question here from Francine. If I book the month live away in Koh Samui, how can I include in terms of the combination? So I saw this question come up from a few members. We do have a live away calendar which maps out the options and is linked. Yeah, we can share that with you. So if you are interested to see what combinations are possible, can reach out to Barb and I, and we will share that with you.
Exactly. There are a lot of combinations possible, and I know that's a little bit confusing, but Paula and Barb will be able to help you. But basically, we have 2 weeks in Koh Samui from the middle of January to the end of January. Then there's another 2 weeks of Koh Samui that overlap with this, or this program for which you can do for 1 week or 2 weeks. And then there's another 2 weeks of Koh Samui. So you could do this wellness program either before or after Koh Samui, or in the middle, or both. You could go for a month. You could go for like 2 weeks to Koh Samui and then take a wellness break in the middle and then come back to Koh Samui for 2 weeks. Or you could go to Koh Samui, do this, and then go to Bali, for example, if that was what you were interested in. So the whole point is that it bolts on, but it's also standalone. So as I said at the outset, you could come and just do this yoga retreat and then, go somewhere else in Asia on your own. I mean, it's not attached to the Live Away program.
Perfect. We have a member that was asking about weather and if the accommodations will have air conditioning.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So a very good question, because we were looking at some accommodation before that was a little bit more rustic, more classic sort of Koh Phangan accommodation. I decided against it. So we've gone for a pretty modern place that has all the amenities. So these are definitely very air conditioned places, or not. I mean, you can also open up the thing and get the ocean breezes. And the beauty of this time of the year, January, February, is the coolest time of the year in Thailand. So quite frankly, I sleep with the windows open in my home during the evening, because the temperature drops to sort of 23, 24 at night. So, which is warm for people from Canada if you're not used to it, but it is, but yeah, there is air conditioning, so have no fear. There's no air conditioning in Okashala. So everything else that we do is going to be outside, and it's going to be warm during the day. So you're going to be sweating during the day, but you can always retreat to your room for some cool air.
Or the pool or the ocean. Perfect. I have a member who's asking if I was wanting to travel with a friend, do the rooms accommodate 2 beds? Do we know that?
I believe that there are rooms with 2 beds. Yes. So we will confirm that to you, but I believe we have twin rooms as well. So yeah, because we anticipate that some people will want to travel just with a friend. So yeah, we'll confirm that to you, but yeah.
Perfect. I think we've covered all the questions that have come in to me as of now.
Perfect. We must have done a good job then. So as I say, all in all, this is quite a unique program, and I know that for some people, for a lot of people, it may not be familiar with this kind of experience. It really is. It's an amazing journey, and I can tell you the work that I've done with this in recent years has been really life-changing for me. And so I think to participate in a week like this is quite an experience that, yeah, it's just not something you find ordinarily. So I invite you to come along and join us in Thailand next year for this. And it'll be amazing. And if you have any questions in the meantime, particularly once you've read through our program itinerary and all of the other information we provide, just drop Paula or Barb a note by email, and we'll make sure that all your questions get answered.
I just realized I added, for anyone that's was asking about the combination options, I've just added the link which shows some of the different combinations, and then so you can see those there, but you can also reach out to Barb and I for this as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Paula. So yeah, see the link there, and you can see all the different combos that are possible. Thank you for joining us. Again, I hope you'll consider coming to us for this amazing chakra journey in Thailand in January and early February of next year. Take care, and we'll catch up with you on our next webinar next week, which will be about Morocco. Yes. So if you'd like to go to Morocco, you can't go this year because we're sold out, but next year we're just opening up our Morocco trip for spring of 2024. So if you're thinking about Morocco, then join us for that next week. Take care, and we'll see you all again very soon.